welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is going to be on this delectable pot of poulet déjeuner. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you like my content. And without any further ado, let's get started. Just as a reminder, all the ingredients and measurements will be down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you want to make this. But we're going to start off by seasoning our chicken. I'm going to start off with some adobo. Then we will add in some black pepper. And then some crushed red pepper flakes. Next, add in some salt. I am also adding some chicken bouillon seasoning. As always, guys, with seasoning, you can season it to your liking. You can add or subtract whichever seasoning you like or don't like. But after adding my chicken bouillon powder, this is some green spices that I blended up. If you want to know what I put in this green spice, definitely check out the description. Once we're done with the seasonings, you want to now go ahead and thoroughly mix in together all the seasonings, making sure that the chicken is well coated and every bit of seasoning and all that goodness that you just put in there coats every piece of chicken. Now we're going to put our pot on the burner. I'm not adding any oil to the pot. I'm just going to grab my chicken that I've seasoned and I'm going to just place it in the pot. Next, we're going to add in some water because we are going to boil this so that all that seasoning can really get into the chicken. I'm not putting in a lot of water, just a little bit to cover it almost. And then I'm just going to adjust my seasonings. Here I am adding in some herbs. That was oregano. Now I am adding some basil leaves. Also, I am adding some rosemary. Now, a lot of the ingredients I am adding in here aren't traditionally in the original Cameroonian poulet déjeuner recipe. But I guess that's what cooking's for. You experiment with things and you kind of adjust it to your taste. But this recipe is so bomb, guys, you need to try it. But after adding in all my seasonings, you saw me add in a little bit more bouillon powder and a couple bay leaves. I'm going to give this a stir just to combine everything. And then we are going to cover this and we're going to let this cook until the chicken is thoroughly done. In the meantime, as my chicken is cooking away, we are going to get started on our cutting and chopping. For the rest of the recipe, I am just gonna go ahead and chop up some plum tomatoes. also chopping up a white onion. Please don't mind me using this very tiny knife to do my chopping. I don't know why I picked this knife. There's just something about it that I just love for whatever reason. And you know, we all have that favorite kitchen utensil. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and slice up some bell peppers. I'm using half of each. I'm not using all. I'm not using the whole bell pepper because I'm not making so much of this. But I did slice up a red bell pepper. I'm slicing a yellow bell pepper, and also I will slice up the green one. Once I am through with slicing up my veggies, we're just gonna go ahead now and check on our chicken from before. Now, this has been boiling, I would say, for about 20-25 minutes, and it's pretty much done. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to remove it from the pot, and I'm just gonna place it on a tray. In the meantime, while I am removing the chicken, you will see that I am also removing those bay leaves that I put in there because we are going to use this broth. I'm sorry I did not film this part, but do not throw this broth away. We are going to use it in our recipe. So after my chicken was out, what I did is I took a strainer, one with very tiny holes, and I just separated the chicken broth, like just the chicken water, if that makes sense. And you know, the rosemary and the oregano and all the other stuff that I put in there kind of just sat in the sifter. You don't want all of that in there, you just want the chicken broth. So definitely go ahead and strain that and keep the chicken water or broth that you just boiled the chicken in. Y'all know what I mean. But after that, I put a frying pan on the stove, added some oil, I let it heat up, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna add some more flavor to this. You know, that's why this channel is called Flavor Palace, because we're all about the flavor. But anyways, I'm going to now fry the chicken that I just boiled. And you just want to fry this until we get a nice golden brown on each side, if that makes sense. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But yes, I just fried this on each side for about like 3, maybe 5 minutes, somewhere around there. Just fry this on each side until you get a golden, like a browning on each side, and just flip it throughout so that nothing burns. Alright, so after we have fried on both sides and we got a nice color going on, we're just gonna remove this from the heat and just set the chicken aside for now. Alright, so then we're going to work on the plantains. Honestly, I could have done this while the chicken was frying. I don't know why I didn't. But anywho, we are going to work on the plantain, which is the main part of the dish. You can use like fully ripe plantains, but this is what I had on hand. These are like half ripe, but you know, this is what I had, so I'm just gonna use what I have. So we're just gonna cut the plantain as you saw me do. I cut off both ends and made a slit in the middle and just peeled off the skin. Then I am just going to chop the plantain up. As you can see, I am cutting it into about 1/2 inch little circles. I don't know what to call it. You can chop it as big or as small as you want, but for me this was the perfect size. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this until all my plantains are done. Alright, so plantains are chopped and ready. What we're going to do now is add some more oil to our frying pan, and we're just going to let this heat up. Alright, so our oil is hot and ready to go now, so we're going to drop in our sliced plantains, and we are going to fry this until it is thoroughly cooked and nice and golden brown. So once the plantains are done and nice and golden brown, I'm just going to remove them, and I place them in a strainer lined with paper towel just for the extra oil to be absorbed. But we're just going to remove this and set it aside, and we are finally now going to put this beauty together. In my pot, I just added some oil, and we're going to let that heat up. After my oil is nice and hot and ready to go, we are going to put in our chopped onion. Then I am just going to give this a light stir, and we're going to let the onions fry for about a minute or two, just until they start to turn translucent. After about a minute or two, I am then going to add in my chopped tomato. Then I'm going to give this a stir just to kind of combine the tomato and the onion. Next, I am adding some tomato paste, and we're going to put this in our pot and give it a stir. You want to break this up and kind of like incorporate it into the tomatoes and the onions. After I incorporated everything, I did add a little bit of water. I'm sorry I didn't show it, but you'll see it in a second. There it is. I added just a little bit of water just to kind of prevent my mixture from burning too quickly. But I'm just gonna cover this, and I'm going to cook this tomato mixture. This took about maybe 20-25 minutes almost, but really we're really just gonna cook this until the tangy taste of tomato is gone. Then we're gonna add a little bit of seasoning. I am adding in some salt and then some more of that chicken bouillon powder, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this a stir to really incorporate everything. Then I'm going to cover this and let this cook again for about 10 more minutes, just to give time for the seasonings to, mesh with the tomatoes. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, okay. So this is when I am checking the pot, And at this point, my tomato mixture is done and ready to go. Now we are going to start adding in our vegetables. I am using pre-sliced carrots or carrot matchsticks. Normally you would buy fresh carrots and chop them. However, I did not have fresh carrots, so I'm using what I have, but I just added those into the mixture. I let that cook for about a minute just for the carrots to soften a little. After that, we are going to add in our bell peppers. Alright, so peppers are in. Then we are going to give this a stir to incorporate. Then I did cover this. I don't know where the footage is, but I did cover this and let this cook for about 3 minutes, just until the vegetables had softened. Here I am giving it a stir just to make sure nothing is burning. And I believe I'm gonna, yes, okay, so after I stirred it, I am going to add in our fried plantains, and then I am going to mix this very thoroughly, or not, okay, before I mix it, I'm going to add in my chicken. I completely forgot about that, but I'm gonna add in the chicken and also that chicken broth. As you can see, I did strain it like I said, so it's just the chicken broth in there, and I'm just adding that. And then now I am going to thoroughly combine everything. After I thoroughly combined everything, I am then going to add some very roughly chopped spinach. This is fresh spinach. Of course, you can buy pre-chopped or frozen spinach and add it, but I'm adding this just to give it just a little pop of green, a little color, you know what I'm saying? And then we are going to give this another good mix. After I'm done mixing, I am going to put the lid back on, and I'm just going to cook this for another 3 to 5 minutes, not too long. We're just giving time for the spinach to cook through, but after the spinach is done, honestly, that's it. Your meal is ready. Dinner is served. Oh my goodness, I love poulet DG. It is so good. It is like heaven in your mouth. It did take a while to make. It took me about an hour to put this together, but trust me, the end result is so tasty and so worth it. But that's the end of the video, guys. If you did like this video, definitely hit that like button and subscribe to join the Flavor family. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.